Hello, my name is James Zimmer, and my social problem is video game addiction. To give some substance to what exactly we're talking about is this industry, video games, pulled in about $14 billion last year. One game alone boasted that they had 12 million subscribers. That's 12 million people that actually play this game. So that's about the equivalent to a small city. It's pretty crazy. Some other statistics behind video game addiction: 1 out of 10 children are considered pathological gamers. Basically what that is someone that spends somewhere around 10 or more continuous hours on a video game within a day. And if you consider that, that's more than what one person goes to work in one day. So you can see where this can be a very large problem. Basically what happens in these video games, a person goes in and creates what's called an avatar. An avatar is a virtual representation of that person within a virtual world. Basically they get to choose how they want to look, and they use that to go into these worlds and interact with other people. One of the reasons why it's so addicting is it's literally an escape out of the real world into a virtual world. And the virtual world is a lot more forgiving than the real world. Only in the virtual world can you die and come back. In the real world, you basically can't. So, assessing the situation for this social problem, I would suggest DSM-5's criteria for addiction. One of the issues with DSM-5 right now, they haven't technically listed video game addiction as an addiction. They said that they're still waiting on more studies to come back. But if you actually go on the internet and type in video game addiction, there's a treasure trove of information on this. As you will see, some of that information will be in my wiki. Implementing some strategies for this, I would suggest using addiction specialists in other addiction programs. There's support groups out there that deal with this. There are some addiction specialists that are proficient in video game addiction. It follows the same, like I said, the same criteria, all the same symptoms as an addiction. As you'll see in my PowerPoint, I've got those listed. I have the DSM's version of drug addiction versus the video game addiction. You'll see, surprisingly, they're pretty much the same. The evaluating the effectiveness of the strategy for video game addiction is basically follow-up appointments to find out if the person has gotten over their addiction, just like any other addiction problem. The prevalence of this problem is actually quite interesting because it's not factored in only one class or one demographic. It's actually quite stratified across all demographics. If you do a quick search, just the game that I just mentioned earlier, World of Warcraft, a very famous person that actually played that game, who just tragically passed not too long ago, was Robin Williams. So these games, these virtual worlds, are spread quite throughout the world. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, back in 2012 during the elections, it came up in a campaign about a senator who was playing video games. That was apparently a political issue. And so as you can see, this is a very large problem. It's not very prevalent. Whenever you hear about video games, all you hear about is violent video games. Well, this is another bigger problem. It's just one more addiction to add to a list of addictions that's already out there. So I hope you enjoy the rest of my wiki. I've got a lot of good information in there, and have a nice day.